murder in Manhattan.
In total, we have 5 victims shot,
including a cop who died a hero.
What drove this former high school football player cross country to kill?
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
I'm John Dickerson.
4 people went to work as usual in a New York City office building. They had every right to expect they would return home safely as usual, but this time they did not.
A police officer and a security guard, an investment firm executive, and a real estate company employee were shot to death last evening, leaving their families and the rest of America to ask why.
A question we will try to answer. The gunman had driven cross-country from Las Vegas carrying a rifle and, according to a copy of a suicide note obtained by CBS News, a grudge against the National Football League.
NFL headquarters are in that Midtown Manhattan office building, which is where Lilia Luciano begins our coverage. So, Lilia, 24 hours since this news broke, where is the investigation?
Well, right now, the crime scene was just boarded up. We just saw that happen minutes ago. And in terms of the NYPD, they're expanding their investigation, sending detectives to Nevada with a search warrant for the gunman's home and questions for those who knew him and had any information about what he might have been planning and his weapons. A surveillance camera captured the moment the gunman approached the building carrying a semi-automatic rifle. It was just as many workers were leaving to go home.
You are responding to an active shooter incident.
The first victim was shot in the lobby. Didarul Islam was a cop moonlighting as a security guard. He was an immigrant from Bangladesh and a father of 2, with a 3rd child on the way. CBS New York spoke to Islam's nephew.
The youngest son doesn't really understand, and his eldest son is like in shock, walking around with his dad's police book.
The 44-floor tower is the headquarters for the National Football League, multiple major finance firms, and the real estate firm Rudin Management. Jessica Tisch is New York City's police commissioner.
He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire.
The gunman shot a second security guard before taking an elevator to the 33rd floor, where Rudin is headquartered.
1 person was struck and killed on that floor. He then proceeds down a hallway and shoots himself in the chest.
These are images obtained by CBS News of the suicide note found in the gunman's wallet. He wrote CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. That is a brain disease linked to repetitive head injuries suffered in sports. The note also said, "Football gave me CTE," and referenced the NFL saying, "The league knowingly concealed the dangers." The gunman had driven 3 days from his home in Las Vegas. He had a history of mental illness going back to at least 2022. The same year, he obtained his concealed firearm permit. Sometime after receiving his permit, he called police saying he was suicidal. But according to Nevada law enforcement, suicidal ideations are not a reason to confiscate a permit. And listen to this. Nevada police have said that they received a tip about a large amount of ammunition that he had bought at a gun show, that they followed that tip, but because he had that permit, there's nothing they could do, that it was all legal.
And Lilia, we're learning more now about the innocent people who got shot just going about the business of their day.
That's right, Maurice. It is heartbreaking. Of course, you heard about Officer Islam, who was a beloved father, soon to be, of 3 children. You heard also about Alanda Tian. He was the officer who was working in this building since 2019, was remembered by people who worked in the building as a beloved presence, as a dedicated father. We are also learning about Wesley LePatner. She was that executive at Blackstone in an industry that is dominated by men. She led the women's initiative in that company. She was also a mother of 2 who graduated summa cum laude from her university, Yale. And the last victim, the youngest one, was Julia Hyman, who also graduated summa cum laude from Cornell University in 2020.
So sad and so frustrating. Lilia Luciano, thank you.
The gunman, notably, shot himself in the chest, not the head. He said in his suicide note he wanted his brain to be studied.
Dr. Jon LaPook has been following the link between head injuries and CTE for more than a decade now, John.
It's important to say we do not know whether or not the shooter had CTE or any other brain disorder, but Shane Tamura suspected he had CTE, and the 27-year-old asked in a note that his brain be studied for the disease.
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy is a degenerative brain disease linked to repeated head injuries that can occur in contact sports such as football or soccer. Symptoms may include mood swings, suicidal thoughts, and problems with impulse control. Several professional athletes, such as football players Junior Seau, who died by suicide, and Aaron Hernandez, who killed 2 men and then himself, were later found to have CTE.
Our coach kept saying, don't hold your heads down, don't hold your heads down.
This video shows Tamura playing football in high school. His note listed several CTE experts, including Boston University's Dr. Ann McKee. We spoke with her in 2022 about the risks of CTE from youth sports.
The professionals have longer years of exposure, but kids who play high school sports, they're at risk for these changes.
Dr. McKee led a 2023 study that found CTE in 14 of 45 football players with suspected brain injury who did not play beyond high school and who died before the age of 30. Dr. McKee told us repeated blows to the head, with or without a concussion, can lead to the disease.
It's the hits that are asymptomatic that the player plays right through, and over time, those injuries accumulate and lead to a high risk for CTE.
So, John, if there's an examination, how quickly could they learn if there was CTE?
Dr. McKee told us this afternoon it could take a month or longer to do the special processing and stains that would be needed to see if he has CTE or some other brain disorder.
I listened in on your call with Dr. McKee. We were really struck by her thoughts on kids and CTE.
Yeah, and we were blown away by a statistic. For every 2.6 years of football that a kid plays, it doubles the risk of CTE. And that's including kids who are playing in Pee-wee football. And that's why certain organizations are saying, look, no tackle football before 14 and trying to increase education in coaches.
So striking. John, thanks so much.